Despite charges of deathtrap diplomacy with China, the Chinese have continued to win the majority of big projects in Africa, accounting for a large share of all foreign contractors' revenue on the continent. According to Han Chang, a researcher at the Schar School of Policy and Government at George Mason University in West Virginia, Chinese construction and engineering contractors have a dominant position in the African market, according to the South China Morning Post, and are securing larger size or technically more challenging projects that domestic contractors are unable to finish. Africa has become the world's fastest urbanizing region, with rural migrants moving into cities at a rate that exceeds that of China and India as the continent becomes one of the final frontiers of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This rapid transition provides huge concerns, but it also presents significant potential for countries willing to invest billions in an infrastructure building revolution unlike anything the world has ever seen. And no country has answered Africa's call more than China has. In 1979, Chinese firms made their first foray into Africa in search of profit, and they have since risen to become the dominant force. China is currently Africa's most important trading partner, with annual commerce worth more than $200 billion. According to a recent McKinsey analysis, there are over 10,000 Chinese-owned businesses operating in Africa, with a total value of over $2 trillion in Chinese business in Africa since 2005 and $300 billion in investment now on the table. Africa is becoming China's most important overseas construction market, surpassing Asia. Chinese companies control more than 80% of the market in some African countries, such as Tanzania. According to Han Chang, Chinese companies have accounted for 60% of all significant foreign contractor revenue in Africa since 2019, and China's share of this industry is stronger nowhere else, according to the research. Despite China's dominance, experts say Beijing's investments in African infrastructure projects have resulted in debt-trap diplomacy, in which countries are pressured to hand over valuable assets in exchange for debts they can't repay. Some African governments have begun to look into the cost-benefit evaluations of Chinese investments, as well as the terms of such financing, in the last year. Tanzania has joined the growing list of African nations probing Chinese investments. Tanzania's late president, John Magufuli, canceled a $10 billion loan agreement with China last year, accusing his predecessor, Jakaya Kikwete, of defrauding Goldman Sachs. The loan agreement, according to local news sources, required the port to be developed under disadvantageous financial terms. Leading financial experts in Africa have warned African governments to read the fine print of China's conditionality. In their judgment, this would not preclude Beijing from seizing a percentage of their assets, as it has done in Kenya, Madagascar, Zambia, and Zimbabwe in recent years. African and other third-world countries have also been repeatedly warned by the International Monetary Fund that rising loans to China are worrisome. It puts a strain on Chinese creditors, resulting in some insecurity or vulnerability. With all of these worries, China has emerged as a key partner in Africa's urbanization effort, with Chinese companies driving or backing a significant chunk of the continent's infrastructure projects. It's no secret that Africa's progress has been hampered by a lack of infrastructure throughout the continent. Inadequate infrastructure is regarded to be the main hurdle to Africa's growth, as mentioned by the Chinese president, and African governments would need to invest $130 billion to $170 billion per year in infrastructure to meet their aspirations. However, the African Development Bank estimates that they are $68 billion to $108 billion short. Fixing Africa's infrastructure deficit has been a priority for many waves of settlers in Africa, and China is the next in line with their mega projects ranging from roadways and airports across the continent. If you enjoyed this video and want more updates about informative and trending news in Africa, make sure to subscribe to join the new tourist channel. Feel free to drop a comment on any trending news in Africa you'd love us to cover. See you in our next video.